What's up, Life Point students? It is almost the new year. Can you believe it, Paul?
Bruh, we finally about to close out 2020, bruh. It's about time.
Almost 2021, the moment we've all been waiting for.
Bless up.
2020 is going to be put in our rearview mirror, and we are going to drive full force into 2021.
Yes, sir.
And as we do that, we're bringing something back for the next couple of weeks.
What are we bringing back, Whipple?
That we like to call the Late Afternoon Show.
Yes, sir.
Dude, I am so excited about Late Afternoon Show. If you were with us during the pandemic, when everything first came about in about March, April, we started this thing called the Late Afternoon Show.
Yes, sir.
And we had a ton of fun. So that's what we're doing again, and that's why we're here in this kind of like cool coffee shop vibey place, you know?
Bro, we got the brick wall, we got the screen, and we got some wood. Paneling back there, it's a vibe, dude.
Dude, it's a vibe, dude.
It's a vibe, bro.
Dude, it's a vibe, bro.
Bro, it's a vibe, dude.
Dude, it's a vibe, dude. Dude, vibe, dude.
Dude, it's a vibe, bro.
Bro, it's a vibe.
Bro, it's a vibe. It's a vibe, dude.
I was like, how many times can we keep this vibe thing going?
I thought that was gonna be the whole thing. I thought that was all we were doing tonight.
Yeah, and then we could just rename it. It's a vibe, dude.
It's a vibe, dude.
IAVD. Right?
That sounds like a disease. Like, that sounds terrible.
Bro, do you have IAVD? Dude, it's a vibe, dude.
Bro, if I saw a commercial online, it was like, symptoms of IAVD, I'd be like, oh man, I probably got it, bro.
Dude, that's a cold open idea. You know, do like one of those like stereotypical,
cold
like
opens,
drug commercials.
Oh yeah, like we did for the other thing.
5 hour no energy.
Yep.
Yeah, that was good stuff. Anyways, so yeah, this is basically all this show is gonna be. But yeah, last year we had a ton of fun with it, and the reason we're bringing it back when we're bringing it back is because our church every year, when we begin the new year, we start it off with a fast, and it's called Pursuit.
Ka-chow.
And what it is we, as a church, congregationally, like everybody participates in this, we just push out everything in our life. Sometimes it's food, sometimes it's social media stuff, sometimes it's everything that we can. All of the noise in our life, we kind of push that out so that way we can fully focus and pursue God. And so we fast together, we pray together, we worship together, and we have these things called fast gatherings on Sunday nights. Now you're thinking, wait a minute, that's when we gather, Paul. When the students gather, bro.
It is, bro.
Dude, so we can't vibe together, dude.
Can't vibe, dude.
Because
how we gonna vibe?
Church is vibing, bro.
How we finna vibe, dude?
Dude, we are finna vibe. We're finna vibe here on the Late Afternoon Show and at the fast gatherings. You guys are invited to the fast gatherings. So stay tuned for when these fast gatherings are gonna happen, and we hope to see you there so that we can vibe together, bro. So, anyways, we're excited to jump into the Late Afternoon Show. We're excited to just hang out with you online. And you know what I was thinking, Paul?
What were you thinking, Whipple?
I was thinking about just going into the new year and everything that 2020 held, right? It held a lot, right?
Bruh, yeah.
2020 was not a vibe, dude.
Bro, like, it was a vibe, but it was like a bad kind of vibe, dude. It's like how you vibing when you dookied in your pants, bro. It's like that kind of vibe.
Bro, why you gotta be so nasty like that, dude?
All right. It's kind of like, when you're a little kid and you just threw up, but it didn't make it to the toilet. And it's just everywhere. And you're like, well, this is a mess.
That's pretty nasty.
What am I going to do with this?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I concur.
Like, it's like when you got sick on, like, the spinny thing on the playground, whichever one that one was, and then you, like, came home and threw up on your favorite, like, toy or stuffed animal or something.
I can't say that's ever happened to me, bro.
All right, well, you're a nerd. That happened to me, except it wasn't like a stuffed animal. It was like a specific pillow in my house that was really soft. We had a funeral for that pillow, bro. It was the saddest moment of like my 3-year-old life, or however old I was.
That's crazy. But yeah, 2020 was crazy. And we're fingers crossed that 2021 is going to be better.
Gotta speak it, gotta believe it.
Honestly, it can only go uphill from here.
Amen.
Right? I mean, I guess technically not, because it could be like the world just ends in 2021?
Yeah, like, zombies and stuff.
Zombies or like season 15 of Supernatural,
Yeah, if we go season 15 Supernatural bad, it's like,
Talk about things that ended
no
in
redemption.
2020, bro. Anyways, not gonna get me started on that. I'm still crying a little bit from that. So, anyways, I was just reminiscing, There's a lot to reminisce about. And then I was like...
Yeah, we were.
I was like, man, there's a lot of categories that you could fit 2020 in. And then I started thinking, if 2020 was a day of the week, it would be a Monday. You know what I mean?
Facts.
Like, it would be a Monday, for sure. And then I was like, if 2020 was an animal, it would be like an awkward platypus,
Yeah, like just
a
like,
blind platypus.
God, what was you doing with this thing?
Yeah, And then I started thinking, if 2020 was and there's a ton of those that we can fill in on our own. So that's the
true.
game that we're going to play. So Paul, I'm going to play a game with you. And you guys can play at home too. It is on our Instagram story right now at LifePoint LPC Student on Instagram. So go find it on our story. We've got a ton of different questions, slides. Basically, it goes like this. If 2020 was and then there will be a blank there. And then our job is to fill in the blank after the blank because it's a category. And anyways, you'll get it. You'll understand when we start playing. Okay, so first one, here we go. If 2020 was a scented candle.
A scented candle. Oof.
Dude.
That's tough. I mean, it definitely ain't no pumpkin spice, bro. I'll tell you that much.
Dude.
I'll tell you that it ain't no pumpkin spice.
Or it could be the pumpkin spice, but the one that's like way overbearing,
Yeah, like,
Like you walk into a room and you're
no.
like, that's like, there's nothing but pumpkin spice.
Yeah, like if you go into a room and it's just full of candles, but every one of them's lit and they all the same flavor.
If you go into like a 13-year-old girl's room in late October, and it just, all she's been burning the entire year is pumpkin spice. You know what I mean?
Nah, bro, it's like an Axe candle.
Ooh.
It's like an Axe body spray candle,
good.
bro. Because you're like,
Dude, it's like...
This just reminds me of dark times in middle school.
It's like a pumpkin spice and an Axe candle had a baby.
Oh, no.
And then that candle is 2020.
Yeah.
I think that's the one I'm going with.
Yeah.
What do you think? You can fill this out on Instagram.
Hit it up on the gram.
Much more at LPC Student. If 2020 was a scented candle, which scented candle would it be? All right, let's see.
All right, what else we got?
If 2020 was an ice cream flavor, what flavor would 2020 be?
I might get some hate for it, but I feel like pistachio, bro. I ain't even never had pistachio, but I feel like I don't like pistachio flavored ice. I love pistachios and I love ice cream. Why are those two in the same thing? It's like I love years and I love even numbers, but I don't like pandemics. So why was that thrown in here?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. That's a good point, dude.
My take on 2020.
Good point. Pistachio. Maybe.
I don't know that many ice cream flavors though.
Yeah.
So I'm probably just dumb.
I don't really know. Maybe, what if it was like no flavor, like a non-flavored ice cream?
Now, really, it'd be more like if 2020 was an Oreo flavor. Because those dudes at Oreo are just psychopaths. Like, I don't even know what they're doing anymore, bro.
Dude, those people, they are crazy, bro.
They make me uncomfortable. I don't feel safe in my house.
They're like, I don't even know these people, but I guarantee you they don't have taste buds. They probably don't have a sense of smell.
Yeah.
I bet they have COVID because they can't smell or taste.
Yeah, good Lord. Those psychopaths.
They're just combining colors and hoping it turns out okay.
Like, Oreo was good. Double stuff, you peaked.
Yeah.
You hit vanilla, and we were like, all right, it's a vibe.
Yeah.
And everything since then has just been a train wreck.
It's been 2020. All right, let's do the next one. Let's see. If 2020 was a person, Paul. It would be Paul. 100%.
Cap.
It would be
Cap.
Paul.
Cap. Hold up. Wait. Hold on. I think I just found what? Oh, it's a cap, bro.
Wow, dude. Wow, that was so lame, dude.
Cap.
That was so lame, dude.
Bro, if this year was a person, bro. If this was Bro, this year will be a Ted Bundy.
All right. Last one for today for us, but there's many more that you can fill in yourself on Instagram. If 2020 was an app, what app would 2020 be? Bro, Flappy Bird, hands down. It had to be. People died over that app, bro. People died in 2020 and people died in Flappy Bird, dude.
All right, but hear me out.
Okay, tell me.
You're not gonna like this, but when I was in high school, me and my buddies found an app.
Okay.
It was a social media of sorts.
Okay. Beam? Was it Beam?
No.
Ah, dude.
It was focused on pooping.
Oh, dude, I know that app.
Yeah. It's like I poop or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it was like I poop, and like the whole app was like, you can like, as you're pooping, dude, you can be on the toilet with your phone and you can like rate your poop. And you can say like, oh, this was like a 1 out of 5 star poop.
Yeah.
And like you can talk about like the toilet facilities, you can talk about just your experience, the consistency and smell of your poop. And like I used it, bro. Like I would read my homie's stuff and I was like, man, he had a rough poop today.
Dude.
You know? And I'm like, if 2020 was an app, it'd be that. Just completely full of poop and just bad stories.
Yeah.
Like 2020.
I mean, that's a pretty good one, dude. Mm-hmm. That's a pretty good one.
That's my take.
Yeah. It's a hot take, bro.
It's a hot take.
It's a hot take, bro. All right, that's all we got for us for today. But again, we got a bunch of these, so go fill them out. I'd love to see your answers. What do you think 2020 was like?
What y'all think?
And yeah, so now we're gonna move into one of my favorite segments of the late afternoon show, which is what is going on with Paul. What's going on?
That could be the intro.
That was good, dude.
What's going on, Life Point students? It's your boy Paul here with What's Going On with Paul. Now, first thing on the docket, as we all know, we've got COVID-19 rates are skyrocketing right now as we are seeing the second wave come in. People have been getting diagnosed with COVID all over the place, including our very own youth pastor. We've actually recently gotten word that another famous celebrity, I don't even know why I tried to describe Whipple as a celebrity. He's like just a dude, but you know, an actual real famous celebrity has come down with the cocoa. It looks like Mr. Santa Claus has been diagnosed with coronavirus. So this is what y'all little nasties putting out the milk and cookies get for sneezing all over your milk and coughing all over the cookies. You should have worn your mask. You should have put some gloves on before you served the cookies. And now Santa's got cocoa. So we'll see if he makes it next year. And just to clarify, the cocoa that he's got is coronavirus, COVID-19. We're not talking about, you know, some marshmallows in the warm cocoa. No, he is sick and it's serious. Good thing he's not real. In other news, we have got the senatorial race in the state of Georgia. This has been huge. So much media coverage for the state of Georgia, which is really good for our ego right now. I mean, we're getting so much attention with David Perdue, Kelly Loeffler, John Ossoff, and Raphael Warnock getting so much media coverage over who's going to win. I know you guys have been seeing these political attack ads, but personally, I'm just glad that we can finally be known as something other than the state that brought the world Honey Boo Boo. That's a big win for us, guys. That's a huge, like, we taking dubs, all right, just by not being that. So that's fantastic. And finally, as 2020 is beginning to conclude for the year, things are finally looking up. People are really looking forward to 2021 and thinking, God, please let this be our year. Let this be the comeback from 2020. And so we here at the studio have actually been calling God and trying to make contact. And what's that? We actually have got word from God of what's going to happen. We've got word from God. Oh no. Oh no. Guys, it's just Revelation. It's the book of Revelation. This is going to get rough. This is going to get really, really bad. There's at least like 1,000 years of tribulation. So if you thought 2020 was bad, Get ready for the next 1,000 years. It's going to be bad. It's your boy Paul signing off.
All right, now it is time for another segment where we're going to have kind of a couch conversation on being a counterculture Christian.
This the couch.
Bro.
This the convo.
That was an alliteration if I've ever heard one.
Couch
so
convo.
basically, we're going to start a series. Now, if you remember from the last time we did late afternoon show, when we did the message part, I was kind of sitting at a table, and then we had the camera, and you guys just sitting across from me, and I basically preached at you for about 10, 20 minutes.
Pretty much.
But this time we're going to do it a little bit different. It's going to be kind of just conversational. We're going to talk about a biblical concept, and what our conversations are going to revolve around is being counterculture Christians. As Christ followers, we're not called to be like the world, right? We're not called to be alike. We're called to be alive, if you will. We're called to be different. We're called to be set apart, and we're called to be sanctified. And I think, honestly, growing up as a Christian, I was confused by that because on one hand, I used to think, well, am I just supposed to be this like crazy, outlandish weirdo and like always running around with, you know, like this giant Jesus t-shirt on and telling people that they're going to go to hell, or like a street preacher? Is that what I'm supposed to be? Just so different that I'm bizarre and weird and peculiar. What does that actually mean for me to be countercultural? For me to not be of the world, but to also be in the world, you know?
At the same time.
And so we're going to be talking about that because I think it's so important as we walk into 2021 that we prepare ourselves to be true and authentic Christians. And part of being true and authentic Christians is by being exiles, you know, by being different, by being set apart from the rest of the world. So we're going to start off our conversation by reading some scripture, and then we're just going to talk about it. You're going to give me your insight, and I'm going to give you your insight, and you guys are going to listen. And feel free to drop in to the comment box any insight that you guys might have, anything that you're thinking as we talk about this. So
comments, questions, and the
so
like.
Our scripture, and I'm going to have it right here. Our scripture is coming from 1 John, which, by the way, 1 John is just so good. If you haven't read 1 John yet, you need to read 1 John. Like, seriously, I love the book of 1 John and 2 John. All of the Johns, they're so good. So 1 John chapter 2, starting in verse 15, we're going to go through verse 17. I want you to really listen to this, really pay attention to what these words are, because I think it's super important. So it says this in verse 15. Do not love the world or the things in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. Man, that right there is just heavy already.
Yeah, that's already intense.
The love of the Father is not in him. Verse 16, for all that is in the world, the desires of the flesh and the desires of the eyes and the pride of life, is not from the Father, but is from the world. And the world is passing away along with its desires. But whoever does the will of God abides forever. So John is pretty clear in this. In that first verse, man. Do not love the world or the things in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. Man, that's
heavy.
Pretty heavy right out the gate.
Yeah,
right?
That's pretty intense just to start out with.
Yeah. You know, I'm reminded of when Jesus is teaching, and you know, he just says, like, you can't love God and money, right? You can't have these two things, because anything placed on an equal playing field with God in your life is an idol. And as Christians, like, we cannot love the world and love God, right? It clearly said that if you love God, then you won't love the world. And if you love the world, then you cannot love the Father. Like, the love of the Father cannot be in you.
Yeah.
So I don't really know, you know, what do you think when he says when he says, do not love the world or the things of the world, what does that mean to you? Just the idea of loving the world. What would that look like?
Oof. I mean, to me, you know, whenever I think of like love of the world, like, you know, I'll say this, I don't think it means like the physical earth, like, oh, I love Earth Day and I love like taking care of the world. Like, I don't think that's a problem. I don't think that's what it's really saying. I think it means like the things of the earth, the earthly things that we see, the things that are so very human, you know. And for me, like, at least in my context in, you know, Cartersville, Georgia, where I find myself on the daily, especially in like the car business, one thing that I see, and I think this is true to some extent across America and for all of us, is this consumer mindset that runs us. This idea of like, you know, I'm gonna work hard in school so then I can work hard and get a job, so I can work really hard in my job, so then I can retire, and then one day I'll just die.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, I'll build up all this money so I can buy these things to make living a more comfortable experience until I die. And everything is just built around this premise of like making things as easy as you can on yourself. And not that Christians should be like forced to struggle at every individual turn. Like there's nothing wrong with setting yourself up for success, but I think it's having more of a direct purpose there. Because I can think of so many guys that it's like their whole life revolves around like, oh, well, I'll make more money. And then if I make more money, I can get more things. And, you know,
if I can get more things, those things will make me happy, right?
Yeah, it's kind of, you know, like that old story where like John Lennon, who like wasn't really even that good a dude, I don't really think, was asked like as a kid, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I'm pretty sure I just saw this on Facebook, actually. I don't even know this is John Lennon. But it was like somebody asked a kid, like, oh, kid, what do you want to be when you grow up? And the kid says, happy. And the parents and the teacher's like, no, you don't understand the question. He goes, no, you don't understand the question. I want to be happy when I grow up.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, the thing is, you know, when you look at what brings happiness to people, what brings that fulfillment and pleasure in life, like of just being alive and satisfaction in living. Yeah. I know for me, I sought that out in a lot of different ways. I sought it out through girls, through, you know, video games, through money, through, you know, just all these different avenues that only end up disappointing me. Yeah. You know? And it's like, when I came to church, it was like, okay, this is it. Yeah. You know, and even healthy things that I invest myself in, like sports, athletics, my professional career, like they were good, but everything paled in comparison to the church. Yeah. And so I think it's that realization that like your fulfillment and your satisfaction does not come in through consumption. It does not come from these hobbies. It does not come from these material things or this status that you can achieve, whether it be in church or whether it be, you know, in the world, this socioeconomic, whatever status you can get to. It's about like, hey man, at the end of the day, what am I doing this for? Yeah. What's the purpose? Yeah. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's good. I think kind of summarizing that under the umbrella of what we're talking about, which is not loving the world. The world loves preservation, right? Yes. It's preserving what you have here and right now.
Your comfort, convenience,
things. Exactly.
life.
Money, even family, job, career, academics, accomplishments. All of those things fall under the umbrella of you know, preserving your life here on earth. And that's what the world loves. And we can be tempted to also love preservation. Yep. And that's not a bad thing. We need to love our families. We need to love our careers. We need to work hard and have good work ethic. Absolutely. But ours is rooted not just in preservation itself, but ours is rooted in the purpose that lies beyond the preservation. Yep. Right? We are preserving the things that are happening here on earth. We're preserving our life here now because at the end of it, there's a purpose that's far greater. And so as a Christian, and this comes back to like our whole theme, right? Living countercultural, living different from the world. We can be different, we can be countercultural because we have a purpose. As Christ followers, we actually have a light at the end of the tunnel. It's not just simply preserving for the sake of preserving. It's not just simply building a bank account for the sake of having a bunch of money. It's not just having a family just to have a family. It's all of those things because God has purposed our lives to reach other people and to make a difference in the world, and not only in this world, but in light of eternity as well. So I think that's really good and really important to remember that, man, it's so easy to love the things of this world. It's so easy to love preservation. It's so easy to love money. And one of the things that I think we typically do, I've done as a Christian, is I treat it like a scale, and like I have multiple, let's say, love weights, right? Multiple love stones that I place on the scale. And I say, well, as long as my love for the world doesn't quite outweigh my love for God, then I'm okay. So I can really love money. I can really love my family. I can really love my success or my physique or my image or reputation. I can really love those things as long as I also really love the church, and as long as I also really love youth group and really love doing my quiet times. As long as I do those things, they counterbalance each other, right?
Yeah.
But I think what John clearly states here is when he says, do not love the world or the things of the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him.
Right.
I think what John is saying is, hey, you've only got one love stone, and it's your obligation as a Christian to place that love stone on God. And not on, you can't split it up. You can't put a little here and a little there. It's either you're all in and you love God and everything else falls under the umbrella of loving God and serving God, or you're not, right? You're either hot or you're cold. You can't be lukewarm.
Lukewarm, I'll spit you out. Yeah, and I love that you said everything comes under the umbrella, because kind of what I was thinking was like, it does get kind of confusing for some of us, because some of us, like our family is Christian, or maybe your family's not Christian, but you want to show them, your relationship with God. You want to show them what it's like to be in a relationship with God. And the way that I think about it is like our love for the things that happen to be in creation should all come from our love of God. Like the way that I think about it is like, those fountains you see like in restaurants or out at the park or at the mall or whatever it is, where it's like okay, this is dumb, but I know that like El Nepal has the exact fountain that I'm thinking of. But it's like a fountain where like at the top you see water and it goes up and it goes out, and it kind of just cascades, and then there's a little pool. And that pool will receive water until it gets filled, and then it pours over into the next pool. That pool's a little bit bigger, and it fills up until it pours over into the next pool. And I think that's how our love of God is supposed to be. Like, we're supposed to love God first. And out of the overflow of our love of God, we see, like, so our love is the water coming out of the fountain. It goes first and foremost to God. God is that first cup receiving thing. Like, we love God first. But from the overflow of the abundance of our love of God, we love our family. And we love people. And we love the people that God has called us to love. And out of the love for those people, well, maybe I'll love some of the things that they happen to enjoy. Like if this friend of mine, I can't quite find something to connect with him with to the church, but I know that he's really into this. Well, I might get into that a little bit so I can have something to talk to him about, and I can make a connection there.
And that's the difference. Everything comes back to a purpose. Right? Every ounce of love that we show to other people comes back to a purpose. Not necessarily an ulterior motive, but an ulterior purpose, which is the purpose to show them the greatest love that they can experience. Because we've experienced it too. Right? It goes far beyond preservation, and it goes all the way to purpose. And I think that's so important. And I want to touch on just one more thing before we go, because we talked about this a little bit earlier, but in verse 17, the very end, it says, and the world is passing away along with its desires. Whoever does the will of God abides forever. I think this is just, again, going back to preservation over purpose, or purpose over preservation. Like, if you solely live for loving this world, it's gonna pass away.
Absolutely.
Right? The flesh and all of its desires eventually pass away. So you can build up, you can preserve as much as you want here on earth. You can work hard, you can have the bank account, you can have the success, you can have all of that, but it fades away.
Yep.
It's the same idea as that you don't go painting your walls in a hotel room, right? You don't go installing refrigerators and ovens and all of your household things in your hotel room. Why? Because you're only there for a short amount of time. You're only there for a minute, and then you're gonna go home. And for us, we're not interested in preserving a hotel room. We're interested in using this hotel room that we have for the greater purpose of one day returning home. And so as Christians, being countercultural means understanding and knowing that we can't just live in a hotel room forever. We have to understand that one day there's going to come a day where we're called home, and what we've done in this hotel room does matter. So yeah, man, it's just so important to understand and to know that we're living for a greater purpose, and our love needs to show that, right?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
Awesome. So that was our countercultural conversation, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, like, we're reading these comments, so please comment your input, anything that you think of when you think of being a countercultural Christian, because we're called to be different. So let's be a people during this season, especially during this pandemic, as crazy as it's been. Let's be a people that are different. Let's be a people who are not just interested in preservation, or interested in the purpose that God has placed on our life. All right, well, thank you guys for joining us. We're going to do this again next week. We're going to do some new games. We're going to spice it up a little bit. So definitely stay tuned. I cannot wait to see you then. Peace.